시청자 여러분 안녕하십니까? 전 세계 교회와 선교지 소식 전해드리는 CGN월드뉴스 정은지입니다. 첫 번째 소식 CBN에서 보내온 소식부터 전해드립니다. 중동에서 크리스천이 사라져간다는 우려가 제기되고 있습니다. 제닌디 지오바니 작가는 이라크 크리스천의 수가 사담 후세인이 집권하던 시기 이후 크게 감소했다는 점을 예로 들며 중동 크리스천에 대한 관심을 촉구합니다.
In Iraq, during the last census, which was 40 years ago, during the time of Saddam Hussein, there was roughly 1.5 million Christians there. Christians are a hugely important part of Iraqi society, of the mosaic that makes up the country. So since the Islamic State rolled through in 2014, added to that terrible economic conditions, lack of education, entrepreneurship opportunities, these people are migrating. Also, many were killed, of course, during the ISIS years. We're now down to, we don't have an accurate count, and it's always difficult to judge numbers, but somewhere between 150 and 200,000, which is a radical decline.
제닌디 지오바니 작가는 중동 크리스천이 감소하는 상황에도 그들이 신앙을 잃은 것은 아니라며 계속해서 그들이 기억하고 관심을 가져야 한다고 전했습니다.
Well, I'd like to point out that they haven't lost their faith. And that, to me, is the most remarkable thing. For 2,000 years, Christians in the Middle East have been persecuted, hunted down. There's been plagues, there's been purges. But despite it all, some of them hold adamantly on to their land, their faith. And I remember I was there when ISIS came through, but I was also there in the aftermath. And to see these incredibly courageous people return to their villages, their churches were, of course, destroyed, their crucifixes trampled on, their pictures of saints ripped up, destroyed. Some of their women were taken off to Raqqa to camps. Some of them were killed, their farms burnt, but they went back and they're trying to rebuild it. But others, it's just too desperate a situation. So they're being forced to flee. Where do they go? They go to the US, they go to Canada, they go to countries that will accept them. Now, on one hand, this means they could start a new life. On the other, it means they are leaving the land of the prophets, essentially, which has been their ancestral land for 2,000 years. So last year, when Pope Francis visited Iraq, it was an absolutely extraordinary moment because the Pope was frail, it was the height of the pandemic, and yet he went to see Iraqi Christians to say to them, you are not alone. We are with you. We need you to stay here. Because if they leave, then we have a homogenized Middle East. We no longer have the rich, inclusive place that it was with minorities, with peoples of all faith. I think Christianity throughout the Middle East is in trouble. But the countries I decided to focus on were the ones that really are the most vulnerable. And what's really interesting is in America, I think most people don't know this. I think so many Christian congregations have no idea that they have Christian brothers and sisters in Iraq, in the Middle East, in Palestine, the land where Jesus walked, in Egypt, in Syria. These are the lands of the prophets. These are ancient places. When you go to Mass in Iraq, in a Chaldean or an Assyrian church, they pray in Aramaic, which is the language of Jesus. And I have to tell you, as a practicing Roman Catholic, nothing is more moving than to see these ancient people who desperately want to stay in their land. So we really need more awareness about this. More than anything, I think the greatest thing we can do is to realize they're there and to show them that they're not alone, that we are with them, and that we're supporting them.